Back with the market, right here in ET now. Keep your eyes closed on the currency because it seems like we're almost close to hitting a fresh low. 70.3 now on 9 on the currency. That's been the intraday low right now. 70.37 is where the rupee is currently floating at, and that's going to weigh heavy perhaps. Sunil Subramaniam joins in to talk about his take on the market. Sunil, your take on the currency weakness that we've consistently seen. Would it continue to be a tailwind for IT and maybe not beneficiary for some sectors and stocks?
Absolutely, because I think the currency weakening is not driven by any weakening in the Indian economy, but by the strengthening of the US economy. So, and I think that augurs well not only for service sector exports, overall for the exports scenario, it's a very good augur. And given India's whole demographic advantage in terms of labor, I think this kind of a thing will give an impetus to export-oriented industries in the services sector and in all other sectors.
Right, but how much do you think is the market deriving its value from the earnings profile just as of now? Do you think that earnings are good enough to take the markets higher to 12,000 and beyond?
Absolutely, because if you look at the earnings and we were doing a disaggregation, whatever the market's earnings, they coming at overall at a single digit number of 8 to 9%, but the main villain of the piece is the banking sector. So if you take away the banking sector, actually the economy EPS growth of the overall market grew at 20% plus. And this is more sharply visible even as you go down the broader market. When you think about the Nifty, the impact is about 10 percentage points higher in terms of earnings. I think Nifty earnings excluding banks has come at about 26% for this quarter. But in the mid cap and the small cap space, that differential is even more sharp because mid caps are showing only about 11% growth, but you take off the banks, it's showing 39% growth. And small caps are actually shown negative earnings growth this season, but if you take away again the banking sector, they are at about 15-16% growth. So ex banks, the economy is throbbing along very, very well, and I think this is why if you see most of the money is flowing now into good quality stocks where earnings growth visibility is there.
So, Sunil, give us some of the stocks and sectors where you're finding value right now, besides the ones that we've already talked about, where you think that irrespective of the Nifty run-up and the mid-cap catch-up, which is already at play, there is still opportunity to buy at the current levels.
See, I'll tell you what, I think the current levels for the broader market are in fact very, very cheap. It's only at the Nifty that a few stocks have all run up and a few sectors have run up. So if you go down the cap curve, we find that across the range, right? And if you take for us, we are very bullish on the services sector. While manufacturing is showing a pickup and all of that, it needs a lot of action on the Make in India front to really kick-start it, land reforms, labor reforms. But services sector is something which is readily picking up the growth momentum. And if you see consumption continues to be a strong driver behind which there is retail credit. So the point is like this, at this point in time, if you look for value as such, the discounted stocks are the infra pack, the discounted stocks are the pharma pack broadly at the lower end of the cap curve. But I don't yet think it's time for bottom fishing. Right, I think the right time now is to look at what can really play off this growth. While consumption and IT both are growing strongly in terms of their quarterly earnings, as well as for IT the rupee depreciation helping, a lot of related industries to that are all growing very well. And if you see consumption demand, retail, logistics is growing very well, and logistics is yet a largely unorganized sector which is moving into organized, and lots of new listings coming in. So we see a lot of value in the transportation and logistic pack. We also see value in terms of the financial services space, because as consumption grows and as people's wealth, as India's wealth is growing, we are touching $2,000 per capita this year. You'll see retail explode a bit, and on the back of it, retail financing and all of that will grow, at pretty good rates. So for us, there's a broad range of stocks across the largely, as I said, the services play, where there is also visibility of earnings and good growth prospects. And incidentally, about 38 or 39% of India's exports are from services. So here again, a rupee depreciation is something that helps the services theme. So my vote at this point in time is to use services as a filter, which over the next 12, 18, 24 months will easily provide both protection from the volatility as well as growth opportunities in the market. Little year, maybe 24 months down the line, you will see that private capex. Already you saw RBI's report coming in about capacity utilization going up from 72 odd percent 4 years ago to about 75%. This 3% is a fairly significant move because peak capacity utilization for the country has been only 81%. So 75 to 78, I would say another move like this has to happen over the next 12 to 18 months or 24 months, after which you will see private capex really pick up, and that's when the infra and all that value. So while it looks very value driven infra today, you will still have to have a bit of patience instead of 12 to 18 months for the whole order book supply to flow through and then come through into the prices. So for me, the other thought process is that if you have a 3-year outlook, then services is a safer and better play. But if you have a 5 to 7 longer outlook, then infra looks at good value to buy. So I would say, in a portfolio, that's the way you should look at it.
Okay. Sunil, we would have loved to chat more, but we're completely out of time. We appreciate your thoughts, and like I said, catch up and take up this conversation further at a later date. But I just want to mark what's happening with the currency right now, because you're looking at the currency staging a record low once again. So yes, 70 was defined, and now I think we are closer to 70.5. Yeah, I think we're at roughly there. No, 70.4.